call our August 21st Springdale Airport Commission meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Greg Collier,
Here.
Cameron McGarren, Steve Smith,
I'm here.
Jim Ulmer, Joel Gardner, Micah Thomason,
Here.
Mike Goff.
Here. All right, has everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes? Are there any questions? I would ask for a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Minutes are passed. All right. Comments from the audience. If you're not on the agenda, this is an opportunity for you to come up and present to the commission. We won't take action on anything today, but you're welcome to come to the podium and visit with us. All right. Let's go into Elvin Arnold Morris. Will you come up to the podium, please?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I know you were here last month, but will you address the commission and let us know what's on your mind?
Okay, I have a hangar at the airport I lease, and I've sold my plane to Gary O'Neill, and I've worked with James here to terminate that lease at the end of August here. So Gary, I guess, was supposed to be here. He's on his way, but he is wanting to assume that lease. And this is Chris?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And I'm representing Gary. He is on his way. Little background on the plane. It's going to be for NWA Flying Club. The plane has actually been sitting up 8 years, correct?
Yeah.
Just sitting in a hangar, not being ran. It's been out of annual. Since purchasing it, we have gotten with a mechanic. It is annual. It is flying. It actually flies amazing. I was really impressed with it. But it's going to be hopefully going into service with NWA Flying Club. This will be a plane that can be rented. It will bring people to Springdale Airport. This will also be using fuel at the airport for the first time in almost a decade. And so we're going to be able to kind of help support the airport in this as well. Beautiful airplane. This is an open T hangar. It is not a closed one. And so it's not a heavily desired hangar. But I would hate to see a plane this beautiful get pushed out on the tarmac as well. And being a flight instructor and a commercial pilot, I fly a lot of aircraft. I was telling him a minute ago, this is the first aircraft I've ever lowered the flaps and went to shake the flaps, and they won't shake because it's such a solid airframe. And if you know anything about planes, that is extremely rare. We would love to keep it looking beautiful, love to use this plane to help support Springdale Airport and to be a part of that. So.
All right, so discussion from the commission?
I'll ask the first question. How many current hangars does NWA Flying Club occupy?
There's 3 currently. We actually have 4 planes already, not counting this one, so we have one that's already sitting out. But we have 3 172s, 1 current 182, and then this one as well. And also, this particular airplane will be getting a new avionics package as well. So it's going to be taken to Fort Smith as soon, hopefully, maybe as soon as the end of the week, beginning glass panel. If you're familiar at all with the Fly Oz Club in Bentonville, it's a great flying club. Both 182s will have a very similar avionics package to what Bentonville has in those at a cheaper rate. And so it'll be a neat addition to what we're trying to do at Springdale and creating a flying club that's affordable, that is accessible, and something that also will be great aircraft as well.
Okay, so back to the original question. You currently have 3 hangars,
Yes, sir.
and this will be the 4th hangar?
Yes, sir.
And they're all T hangars?
2 of them are open T's. 2 of them are it's the ones right next to them. It's not, I guess it would be east of there, so it's not the ones that are individual hangars. They're all open, but they do have doors on them.
This is always a challenge for me because, you know, you sell a car and you don't include the garage with the car. And so if somebody sells their plane, if a guy from out of town was to buy to go somewhere else, and then you got the poor guy that's number 1 on the waiting list, and he's like okay, there's a place sold, I'm gonna get my airplane in, I can get a hangar and do all this. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, well, they included the hangar with the plane and it's staying in Springdale. And so it's always a frustrating deal because if I was number one on the list, I'd be upset. And I understand sometimes it's easier to sell a plane, keep it on the airfield, but it's just always, we've got our rules, but sometimes we bend those rules. But it's always just a difficult situation.
On the flip side of that, as an airplane owner, it becomes extremely difficult to sell an airplane if there's nowhere to park it. It's kind of like having a boat at a marina. You know, if you buy a boat at Prairie Creek Marina, you typically sell your slip with the boat as well, so that the value of the boat doesn't decrease too.
Not at Beaver Lake.
I've actually purchased some on Beaver Lake and gotten these slips as well. So they will do it at Prairie Creek, I know, and I believe Horseshoe Bend is as well.
Horseshoe Bend may have a few extras because they just added on, but most
But
of the
there's
time.
nothing,
they've
you're
got
right, there's
their-
nothing available, so you have to sell your slip with your boat in order to not lose your value. So but I understand what you're saying as well.
How long of a waiting list do we have, James?
103 names.
Is NWA Flying Club any of those names, or any of the primaries of NWA Flying Club, any of those names?
I have requested twice to have my name put on there. Laura, when she was airport manager, had told me that she had put my name on it.
Have you checked to see if your name's on it?
How do I check to see that?
I checked for his name, and his name is not on there.
Interesting, okay.
Are any members of the NWA Flying Club on that list? Do we know? How would we know?
I don't know who all's on the flying club or on the list. I'm sorry, I can't answer that question.
We've had the list in front of us before, but it's been too long, I don't remember. And it's been updated since then.
That
as well.
that was probably, what was it, 6 months or so ago? Yeah, is when I looked, and I knew I'd talked to Chris about being on the list and trying to figure out. I asked him when he got on the list, and I was looking at how far he had progressed on it, and I did not find his name on the list, so.
How do
we'll
I
need to
get my name back on that? How would it have come off?
You would need
That's-
to go see Austin at the
Okay.
airport and tell him you want to get on that list.
Any idea how that would have gotten taken off? I've not been contacted for a hangar, and I put it on there about 2 years ago. Okay.
No idea.
The other thing with our list is that from time to time, we go through and we ask, what type of hangar are you looking for? So that, I'd be curious about that too. The first 65 people may not be interested in a open T hangar at all. They may be only waiting out for a closed-in hangar, whether it's the open inside or whether it's individual or not. That would be interesting to see as well on that list. Is really, are we talking about number one, or are we talking about number 86 that got on the list a year ago? That would be interesting to see as well.
And unfortunately, this particular T hangar faces to the east, so it gets the majority of the sun as well, and that does its fair share to an airplane too, unfortunately, but it's what it is. Yeah.
I'm in the same position as Commissioner Smith, that we've got an obligation to these people that are on the list. And while I'm, friends with Gary and flown the Flying Club airplanes, there's 100 people here. We have to be able to go to them when they, number one comes up and says, hey, why did I get overlooked? Why did you jump over me? I can't do that in good conscience.
So at what point do the tenants, I'm trying to think of the word to use, but at what point do we look at the tenants as well and the people who are at the airport and their ability to sell their aircraft to? And I understand what you're saying, but the problem too is you're not really taking a name off the list, you're switching, because at this point, we're gonna have to get on the list for this airplane because it's gonna sit outside and have damages from sitting outside if it's removed from the hangar too. And I'm just curious, is there ever I don't want to say a hierarchy because that's the wrong word, but is there ever a point where you look at the tenants realizing these people have paid, they have been a part, so if they're going to sell an airplane, do we allow the hangars to go with them? Because I know that happens some. For instance, the hangar right next to it happened in the past year. A guy bought the airplane that was in it and was able to come and get that hangar too. So I know it happens some, and it's a case by case, and I understand that. But
Mike Mitchell, that's another one. Mike Mitchell just a few months ago sold his airplane in the hangar with it.
Right.
So I want some clarification on that. The only time I know of this commission ever agreeing to this agreement was for Gary, and it was in that situation where it was already been established and the owner hadn't been involved in a while. That's the only time I know of that ever being agreed on.
What about Mike Mitchell with Nathan Bates? I think he just did that. It's been in the last year. He had the twin. And then the guy in the hangar next to us told us that he came to you guys here recently as well and was able to
James,
get
do you
his
remember
hangar.
that? I don't remember. The only one I know of was Gary.
I remember Mike coming up, but I don't think I was at the meeting for that one. Mike Mitchell.
Nathan Bates has it now. I do know that for a fact, but I don't know what month it was.
Well, I think they came last month, so I think we need to make a decision today for them, one way or the other. But I'd also, and I know, James, I know that we always harp on this list, and I know it's complicated to get it all sorted because you got to contact 100 people, and I know that's difficult. And to Mike's point, I agree. If there's 100 people on this list that want open T hangers, then we're talking about 100 people we're jumping in front of. But I don't know how far down the list we go before we get an open T hanger. This is not a desirable. It is a hanger, but it is not it's better than sitting a plane on the.
Exactly. This is a stage up. So if they don't have their aircraft on the field, they'll take an open T hangar and then stay on the list for when the next enclosed comes available. So it's what gets their aircraft to the field, and then they'll go to the bottom of the list to stay on the list to get an enclosed.
Go to the bottom, though, start again.
Yes,
Okay.
once they get a hangar, if their name's on the list, they go to the bottom.
I'm going to say that I appreciate everything you're saying about the difficulties in selling an airplane and having a place to put it. And I'm in the same boat, but looking for a place to put an airplane. That being said, I think that everybody on this commission would say that I'm the biggest proponent of building more T hangars, and that's been on my agenda since I've been here with this group. And I think we are moving forward for that. We're at least seeing the light of day in front of it to help alleviate this.
And we appreciate it. And I know T hangers are expensive. I get it. I've talked to one of you guys about that already, and I know that's a hard sell. So, but it's just hard too when you have airplanes. And my dream is to own a Piper Cub. If you guys know anything about that, it's a fabric airplane. I cannot buy it until I have a hangar. And I know for a fact that if I get a call that my name even gets back on the list, and it gets to the bottom and they say, do you have an airplane? My answer is not yes. I'm gonna have to go find the airplane once I find a hangar. I also know there are a lot of airplanes that are sitting among our airport that are a lot like this plane was a few months ago that have not been flown in years. There's one hangar I've not even seen an airplane in, and I want to say 4 years, that's right next to one of ours. And so if we're going to work down the list, I wish we could work through some of that. I don't know how exactly you would do that, so please understand, I'm not saying I know how to do that exactly, but for the airplanes that are not getting flown, for the hangars that are sitting empty, or that particular hangar has a car sitting in it. It's like I would love, if we're gonna try to get down that list, to maybe work down that road as opposed to having existing planes that are trying to sell and not be able to have a hangar go with them.
Didn't we go through that list at one time and went through hangars and stuff?
Yeah, if
And
there's
maybe-
something like that going on, then you should bring that to Austin's attention or James or to the commission because we want to fill those hangars. If there's a vehicle in there or a vacant hangar, we want to know that.
It's hard as a pilot, because if you get the name that gets out, that, hey, you're the guy telling everybody's hangars, it's a
Well,
hard.
we don't need to do that. We just need to, as a committee or as part of the group, is to go and inspect those and things. Because I know we went through and at one time, we told them they're not storage units.
Right.
They were using them to storage stuff and we cleaned up a lot of that. And maybe it's time for us to revisit that again, but we try not to do that.
That's done annually, isn't
I
it,
was gonna
James?
say, Austin just cleaned up a couple of hangars last month. So he's going through monthly, tracking down anybody who's subletting or doesn't have an aircraft. So it's not annual, it's every time he goes through a hangar.
Sure, I know it is. And I appreciate y'all's help in that. So.
Any more discussion? I'd ask for a motion.
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we actually allow the transfer of the hangar with the sale of the craft.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote, please. No.
Yes.
No.
No.
Yes.
I stink at that game.
Mr. Kay?
And I apologize for coming in late. I wasn't sure exactly which item you were discussing. So is it number 6? Is they both?
Number 5 and 6 together, yeah.
Gotcha. So with this denial, does this open up this hangar then to next on the list?
Yes.
Okay.
So with it being a tie, that cannot be brought back up, correct? I mean, at that point, it's just considered a fail because there's no majority. Is that my understanding?
That's correct.
Okay.
There's not a tiebreaker.
Yeah, I like the paper, rock, scissors idea. There's a chance. But no, I appreciate you guys hearing us out. I would love for you guys to consider some ways to help tenants. I think as I know most of you guys are not pilots, and I appreciate your time, which you give to this. But at some point, as somebody who is a pilot, as a commercial pilot, I'm also a flight instructor. I also want to be an airplane owner. But it's kind of hard when there's not support for the tenants at the airport. And I understand what you guys are trying to do with this waiting list, but please understand, almost every name on this waiting list has a name on every single airport that's in this area, because every airport is in the same situation that we're in. But it becomes very difficult to want to put a plane at Springdale knowing that I can't sell that airplane anymore. Or if I do, I've got to explain to them, you're going to take it somewhere else. And if you guys would consider figuring out some way to take care of tenants, especially tenants that have paid their bills and have kept things going and have kept their hangars clean and kept good aircraft that are running inside the hangars. In a situation like this, NWA Flying Club, this plane will get flown more than 95% of airplanes at the airport. And now it's getting pushed outside. And it is a very, very nice aircraft that it will not be nice in 6 to 8 months to a year. So if it's something you guys could talk about in the future on the behalf of all the pilots at the airport, please do so. Please consider that for us. I think it will help you guys. I think it will help us. And please understand, at the end of the day, I want Springdale Airport to succeed. I love this airport. I'm invested in this airport, and I would do anything I can to help. If that's sitting and trying to help, I know one time we had a special call meeting for parking. I was there for that. Anything I can do, I want to be a part of. But please consider a way to help us as owners and pilots moving forward.
Thank y'all. Thanks for coming. Appreciate you. Okay. Number 7, Gene Nichols, through the fence hangers on the west side.
How's it going, guys? John Duggar, Gene Nicholas.
Gene Nicholas?
Yep. So we are here to talk about the church property, the Tabernacle Church there, just to the south of the airport entrance. Gene is under contract to buy that property now. So our goal would be to partner with you guys on developing that property to expand the airport. As we've just were talking about, there's not enough hangar space in Springdale. So we are, we're wanting to change that and build a bunch of hangars at obviously no cost to the city, but we are here to just kind of open up the dialogue with you guys, saying we would like to build multiple large hangars, and we want to come to you guys to have you guys help us design all of that to the specifications that the city wants to see in the future of expansion. Also, you guys being able to get, the tax revenue off of the hangars there, through the fence, fees, whatever that would look like. So Gene himself's going to build a large hangar. Seven Brew Coffee's also wanting to build 1 or 2 hangars. and bring more aircraft. We currently operate, with Seven Brew, I manage the aircraft. We operate 3 jets that are based here at Springdale. But we're getting to the point where we're upgrading. We're going to add another large jet to be able to go international. And there is no hangar space. There's no hangar space in Northwest Arkansas to house an aircraft like that. And so our goal is we want to stay at Springdale. Seven Brews invested in Springdale. Their headquarters is here now. And so we want to build a large hangar to be able to fit that aircraft, maybe multiple hangars to be able to fit our fleet of aircraft. And obviously help develop that entire side of the airport to be able to do that. Anyway, so just kind of wanted to open up the dialogue here. Just so you know, if, like, we're buying the property whether it's approved or not, and we'll just sit on it. Because we know the value of the property, it's worth it, and so whether it's approved or not, it's not gonna change the decision to purchase the property. But I think it could be a real big positive for everybody in the sense of you guys can say, hey, here's what we'd love to see on this expanding the airport.
Let the commission visit about this real quick.
Yeah.
I appreciate everything you're saying. Any discussion on this real quick? I've got several things to,
Right now, I'm sure everybody's got a different picture in their mind. It would have been nice to have a back of a napkin drawing of what this would conceptually look like.
I think we got an FAA issue on this. They don't want us to do any more through the fence construction, so I'm not sure that we have an option on this thing. I don't know.
And we've looked into
my
that.
understanding is
We've looked into that, and I cannot find any regulations in the FAA policy that does not allow through the fence operations.
well, before we even get into that, I would say the Springdale Commission has, for many years, said we are not allowing any more through the fence operations. And that was done at Airport Commission years and years ago. In addition to that, though, I've got a little bit of information here. As a general principle, this is from the FAA, the ADO or Regional Airports Division should not support sponsor requests to enter into any agreement that grants through the fence access to the airport for aeronautical businesses. And it also really is difficult for us to get any grants moving forward by doing this. So that's going to be the biggest hurdle, I think, from a commission standpoint for us to be able to approve this.
I guess you already have, I don't know the number, 20, 25 through the fence operations. So your airport's already dealing with that anyway. And then everything I can see from a regulatory standpoint of my research, and obviously I don't have access to everything you guys do. I couldn't find anything where it said it's absolutely, that it stops you from doing that, or that it endangers any of your grants. Now maybe I don't have all the information, but just from my research, I haven't been able to see that. I did ask James about that. He said that it could be in y'all's, some
Grant assurance.
AIE or something, man.
Grant assurance.
Grant assurance, like a manual. And so I did request that manual from him to see if there's a chance we could locate it in that, but I didn't see, I haven't got that yet, so.
A few years back, y'all put it into the minutes. The FAA required us to say, if any through-the-fence property comes available in the next 50 years, that the city would look at purchasing them back to end the through-the-fence operations. So that's in the Airport Commission minutes.
That all happened back right after 9/11. There was a lot of restrictions on, as I remember, that all happened then. And there were a lot of restrictions on it, and they did not like those 25 people you're talking about having access to our airfield through their own gate. And their answer for that was, we don't like it, we're not gonna make you pour a curb to stop them from getting in. You have to establish a fee, which we have a fee that we charge every year, and they pay those fees or else we pour a curb and they no longer have access. And we were told by the FAA that if any of those properties became available, we needed to buy them. Well, as I remember the way it was written, he soft-pedaled that even more. It was not, we should look into it, it was you buy those properties. Now, I do think over the last maybe 5 to 8 years, there's been a little bit of laxing of that, where we don't have to buy the property, but they are not going to let us put a private person and have access to an airstrip.
So I know that there's been at least 1 or 2 properties that have came up for sale on the other side, and you guys didn't purchase those.
That's been the last 5 to 8 years since they laxed that rule.
Yep, so this, after the tornado, that property from Squires was sold, and y'all didn't purchase that one, and allowed that hangar to get rebuilt there. I think from a precedent standpoint, that does exist. Also, from my research, what I was seeing was FAA does not really want any private hangars for residential was their biggest issue. Commercial side, they're more open to that. That was my understanding of reading the regulations on that side. Now, I could be wrong on that, but I'm not an attorney or anything, but might be something we could just check into. Obviously, for us, this isn't we just want to go build a hangar and get an agreement. We want this to be part of the master plan to where you guys, everybody could benefit. I mean, getting larger aircraft in, all of that, and we're going to put the money forward to do it. Y'all aren't going to have to be out for grants or anything applied to this. And we're willing to pay that through the fence fee. We're willing to pay to put the taxiways in to get there, all of that. So I think it could be a positive for everybody if we can work it out. Obviously, I know this is just preliminary. Everybody, we're gonna have to sit down and go through the legal side and all of that. But I would love to try to look into this further. I know this is just, we're not gonna figure that out today, but just wanted to come before the commission, present this, and then, open up some talks on what we can look into.
I don't know that we want to continue this forever. I think the commission is pretty well under the understanding that we do not want to move forward with this. I don't know, I'm not going to speak for everyone, but based off of what I'm hearing, I don't know what else we need to gather.
I just haven't seen any of that legal documentation that says that you can't.
Well, we don't need legal documentation.
What's that?
We don't need legal
Well,
documentation.
I guess to deny it, you wouldn't, that's right. But just from a standpoint of, is it legal, is it not? I think that's, for us, we would love to invest, build more hangars, because we need it. And you guys, I can't, today, if I wanted to buy a Global or a Falcon and stick, we've got $25 million in jets right now parked at your airport, and we're wanting to put another 25, 30 million there, and really by the end of next year. So for me, I can't put those airplanes there and buy fuel and all of that if I don't have a place to put it. And so,
Well, we have a strategic plan we're in the process of working through, and our goal is to buy more land and build more hangars, and we're in the process of building hangars. So
I understand, but that doesn't fix the short-term problem or the long-term, because there's still not enough. You got 100+ people on the waiting list right now just for T's and all of that. And then our goal is, we develop this land, there's going to be, it's not just our airplanes. We're talking lots of corporations that we already have relationships with who say, yeah, I'm interested in space if you can get it, build it. And so that's our goal. It's not to try to do anything outside of the city. We want to be able to develop this land. We really want to own the land under our hangar.
I think we got it. I think we understand
Yeah.
what you're saying.
So, and I would just love to continue the conversation. Obviously, we're not, if you guys in the end say no, we're still going to buy the land. It's not going to change that.
We understand.
And
You mentioned that
so,
several
yeah.
times.
Anyway,
We have land available for land lease, so that's also available.
yep. We're not interested in land leasing because we can go other places. And it's, from a long-term standpoint, it's not in our best interest to do a land lease, to build a multi-million-dollar hangars, and then
Okay, well, it's
the city
available.
ends up in it in the
It's available. If
long-term.
that's something
We
you might want
understand
to
that.
do, it's there. All right, any more discussion on this?
Do we need any kind of decision?
Ernest, do we need to make a decision on this today? Okay.
I'll just say something. I work with Gene as well. Gene has an aircraft at the hangar, and I'm one of his pilots.
Is
And
this something in addition to what they've told us?
It is an addition. So I think to draw a conclusion to this, I understand there's an FAA legality in question, and we would just petition if we could overcome the FAA legality obstacle. Is this something we could discuss with that one item aside? And we're happy to retain legal counsel and speak with the FAA and the Aeronautical Division. If that one obstacle, that obviously seems to be the biggest obstacle, is removed, then this seems to be a positive for the city and others. So that's the question.
The city, just a couple of weeks ago, approved to spend like $200,000 or $300,000 for a master plan and see if we can, and we'll include all that in that master plan and then submit it to the FAA for what we think we should do and what the city thinks they should do. So I think you'd have to wait till that study got approved and
Is that something we
finished.
could be a part of those talks for that master plan, just with our piece of property, where you guys would be willing to discuss with us, say, hey, if y'all want to build these hangars at your expense, we could work
This
on
is,
that?
this would be separate from that, but.
Is that possible, though? Just
To be
looking
a
at
part of
plan?
that?
Yeah, to be part of that?
Probably not.
I would say, just like any other citizen, they can go ahead and weigh in on any polling or any type of public comment periods. But I just want to make just a observation comment. What's your name, sir, in the middle?
Nathan Bates.
Nathan,
sir.
and your name, sir?
John Duggar.
Mr. Duggar, Mr. Bates. Mr. Duggar, you could actually learn from Mr. Bates on how to properly communicate with a board, because he came in, and I was actually engaged in wanting to communicate with him further on. You came in trying to bull your way through, and that's not how you do it. I just want to let you know.
Yes, sir.
My observation of you is you're trying to use threats of, we're going to go somewhere else, and we're going to do something else, and I couldn't find in my research, you're talking about all your research, but you don't have any backing of your research, so it's all opinionated to me. You, sir, I'm willing to have a conversation with you. You, sir, you turned me off completely on wanting to have a conversation with you.
Sorry about that, I didn't mean to.
So I think at this point, we'll move forward. We're not going to make a decision based on
Understood.
anything, but thanks for bringing it to our attention. And as I said, the commission, the city is moving forward with growing the airport.
Yes, sir.
And we'll see
And
where
we're
that
excited
goes.
about that. We're all on board with that. Like, we love the airport, well invested there, and I have a good sized business there. So, yep.
Thank you all. All right. Perry Chuck, you're up.
How are y'all doing today?
We are good, thank you.
I'm just proposing a 100 by 100 hangar on a land lease. That's all mine is.
Any questions on this? It's all pretty black and white. You've got it in front of you. You should have it in front of you.
What's the plan with the hangar? Are you going to just use it yourself, or?
I do have several aircraft, and I'll probably put one there for a period of time, but I propose to rent it to a corporation is what I'm going to end up doing with it. So during the interim, I'll probably put one of my airplanes there for a while, but then once I rent it for long-term, then I'll move my aircraft back to one of my other hangars over in Siloam or some other place.
Well, I think this falls under all the curriculum that we require for the airport, so I'll
Yeah,
make a motion, we approve this.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Yes.
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 Yes, ma'am.
Yes?
All right, that's approved. So, James, will you work with him in getting him set up with planning, and we'll meet? There'll be several of us that'll meet together to make sure you've got all your ducks in a row on,
No problem.
on getting it constructed.
Absolutely.
All right,
Thank
thank you,
you.
guys. Appreciate it.
Before we move on, man, what a better process that was than what it's been. Like having the zoning properly and all of the exceptions and variances and all this, that was, whoever had that idea and did that work, thank you, because this is so much better.
It's still a process to get to the end, but gosh, it's so much better and smoother. Thank you. Where are we here? Summit, Daniel.
Hey, good to see you again. Really not much to report on my end from Summit. You see my numbers. And not super great with that, down 72% from June. But that's all right. We're starting to pick back up. I think it's been everybody's been on vacation, really. Our AVGAS numbers were up. And so that's kind of lending me to think that a lot of business people were on vacation, and so the people who are flight training might be coming out of those businesses, taking their vacation time, learn how to flight train and burn a lot of fuel doing it. That's kind of what I saw on the ground when thinking about it last month. This month, kind of getting back to it. Sales are kind of coming back up a little bit. Probably not what we saw in August of last year, but still not bad. Healthy for sure. We're about to start planning our Halloween event. Really haven't done too much for that just yet. The only thing I'll say is that I think I've got a good option for event insurance, which hopefully I'll have that all hashed out by the time we meet next, and I'll give you guys a good rundown on what that looks like, just make sure everything is in order, and then I'll talk with James just to make sure everything looks the way it needs to. It would be through my fuel provider, Titan Aviation Fuels. They've got an insurance branch that they work with, so it's tailored to air shows and airport events, so I think it should look all right. But I'll let you know what I come up with on that.
Is this year 3?
2.
2.
Yeah.
So from year 1 to 2, you always have a lot bigger turnout. I know you had a lot more initially than you thought you would. You're planning for quite a few more, I hope?
Yeah. We're hoping for more. Logistically, we're trying to figure out what we can do with the space that's available to us. One thing that we're taking into consideration is the number of normal operations that happen during the times that we're having these events, usually Friday evenings or Saturday evenings. There's not a whole lot going on operationally. So what I'd like to do is eat into some of the space I've been allotting to normal operations, since it's not being used, while still allowing for some amount of space for any fueling or GPU or transient traffic, just to be able to get in and out unimpeded. And that'll be part of kind of how we look at our general layout. We'd like to, one idea that we're working with now is using 2 entrances of the airport, the one off of Powell and the one at the terminal, utilizing volunteers to direct traffic for us. I want to get a hold of Civil Air Patrol and Rogers and see if their cadets could do that for us. That way we've got controlled access down those paths, those taxiways. They're not active taxiways, so the tower doesn't have to worry about them. And then they'll all have a good safety rundown on how to handle traffic if you have a local departure or inbound, so that the aircraft, again, are not impeded in any way and can get to their hangar efficiently. We still need to talk that through with everybody who's going to be hosting the event. That's the general idea. That's one of the things we're going to work on. We'd like to use the old helipad and the grass around it, as long as it hasn't rained, for parking, as long as there's no potholes. And I don't think there are. I was talking to Alan the other day, and he doesn't think that would be too much of an issue. But that's one of the things that I need James and then you guys to sign off on for me, to be able to use that grassy area. And I'd walk through with James and Austin, if he's back by then, on what would actually look like cordoning off those areas, and then having those two ways of getting out of the airport. During our car show, we had that storm roll through right at the end of the night. And we were bottlenecked at our terminal, so we were escorting people down Powell, like 10 cars at a time, which worked out really well. We got the ramp emptied in about 20 minutes, but it was a lot of vehicles, and it was unexpected. So we want to be able to mitigate those issues, and this is how we think we'll be able to do that effectively and efficiently. I think that's all as far as planning-wise, that's all I've got right now. So we're going to start reaching out to local companies to see if they could be sponsors, vendors for the event this year. And last year, we had, I think we had 2,000 people that we estimate. We'd like to bring that up to about 3,000 if we can work the insurance correctly and if we can get the layout for our parking and our general event area. And then what I'd like to do going forward, I think we'll definitely do another car show next year, but some ideas we're playing with after talking with the groups that we worked with and the positive reception we had, we want to turn it into a little bit more of an event. So the car show was the big thing and the cars with the plane was great. I'd like to see about getting some hot air balloons out there and doing hot air balloon rides as well as helicopter rides with Aero. We'll do the helicopter rides this year at the Halloween event. That was a big hit last year. Just being able to fly whenever somebody came out to the event was it was a good surprise for them. And they were busy. They had to stop the line at one point. So they got they had plenty of traffic, plenty of income off of that. So it was worth their time. Yeah, short of just thinking out loud and telling you what's on my mind. That's all I have. So, unless you have any questions, I'm good.
Any questions for Daniel? Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you.
Mr. Kate?
Again, I apologize for being late today. I was in a meeting at the chamber and it kind of ran over. The only thing I have is the judgment for the Cowboy Diner sitting on Judge Sample's desk as we speak, and I think he signs judgments on Friday, so we'll have that judgment, and then we'll try and start collection efforts after that.
And I haven't looked at that recently. What's the balance on that?
It was $1,280, plus we get our costs, and it bears interest.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Kate? James, activity report.
We had a couple of late renters, so I've already spoke to both of those, so they're supposed to get current. We've got roughly 6 through the fence that hasn't fully paid, so we'll be calling those guys. Working with Garver on a couple of maintenance issues around our new hangar. Austin ought to be back next month, so he's been off on his baby leave. Like Daniel said, we're still about 5,000 operations short from what we were last year, but the weather is improving, so I imagine that'll be picking back up.
Is there a way we can tell that those hangars are not being used or nobody's going in and out of them with an airplane? If this guy that was here today had a plane that sat there for 4 years or 5 years and never got flown, that's, to me, sounds like a storage issue, not a plane hangar issue.
Right. Well, we don't monitor if they're flying or not. We just monitor if they're playing in the hangar. So a lot of these guys will come up and fly on the weekends when we're not there. So we won't know if they're flying their aircraft or not.
Well, fuel-wise, would Springdale Air know?
They could fly off and fuel up at Siloam or anywhere and not buy it from Springdale if they want.
If they go to my self-serve, they could put in just N instead of a tail number. I wouldn't be able to track it.
So you don't track your self-serve?
I do if they put in their actual tail number, but that's not always the case.
Tower's not. Daniel, can you think of a way to do this?
Not without a lot of legwork.
You'd have to have somebody there 7 days a week, just monitoring hangars.
I guess you could look and see if it's covered with dust really bad or something. I don't know.
I mean, could we put a 3-inch piece of tamper-proof tape on the door? And if the door opens, then we know?
Yeah, but we go in more than that.
And, I understand the direction we're going here, but the lease says to have a aircraft in the hangar. Doesn't say you have to fly it. Anything else?
That's it.
All right. Greg, Garver update.
Awesome. I'll go ahead and get started. I think I've got a quick update for you all today. Just a reminder of the 3 active projects that we've got going. We've got the runway rehabilitation with the grooving. We've got the tower rehabilitation. And now we have this new strategic plan. I'll give the update on the strategic plan first. At the last meeting, the Airport Commission approved a 50-50 split of the funding with the city council. We went to city council in the last 2 weeks or so and received approval from city council as well. So we're working right now on getting that contract executed, and we intend to have our first visioning meeting on September 4th. That's really the only update I have for the strategic plan. We'll get started on September 4th, but any questions about that one?
Your visioning meeting, who all's invited to that and what did it consist of?
Right, so the goal of the visioning meeting is to identify key stakeholders. So a few of the stakeholders that we've identified so far, we're going to have someone from the city representative, so that'll be Colby Fulfer with the city. We're going to have James and Austin there, airport director, airport manager. We'll also have Jay Seago with Springdale Chamber of Commerce. And then lastly, Greg and I were talking about potentially Greg and maybe Cameron to represent the commission. But I don't know, Greg, if you had more to add to that. Okay.
It's in the early stages. We've not even spoken to everyone yet, but that's the direction we're going.
Okay. Any more questions on the strategic plan before I move on? Moving on to the runway rehabilitation project. As you know, this is our 90-10 funded FAA project. As of last Friday, we are substantially complete. So all of the work is completed. Next Monday, they'll go through and finish some of their punch list items, things like spilling paint or maybe missing a marking here or there. And so just doing some general cleanup. We anticipate needing 2 or 3 hours just to be able to take care of those cleanup items. Other than that, the project's done. The runway's been open. We've got some nice aerial photos here. Thanks to Daniel for being able to get these for me. But here's a photo from the north end, just showing how clean the runway looks now. Just a couple of other items. We're going to start the FAA closeout process, so that'll probably be a month or two to finish closing out the project with the FAA and getting reimbursed for the funds. And then also, I know you guys have had questions in the past about maintenance walks, and so we're going to schedule a 12-month walk again with the contractor where we'll go in and make sure the markings are still performing adequately and haven't failed preemptively. So we'll go ahead and get that scheduled as well. Any other questions about the runway project?
Looks really good.
Yeah. It does in person too. Thanks for those photos, Daniel. I appreciate it. Moving on to the tower rehabilitation project. This one hasn't seen a whole lot of movement since we last spoke. I've got some before and after photos here. But these are going to be the same photos that I presented to you at the last week. But the only work that's been completed in the last month is taking some additional measurements for some cabinets that are actually in the back of the tower, so not pictured here. So they're working on installing those and then making some modifications at the tower's request to make those work a little bit better. We're still waiting on some parts delivery for some of the radio equipment and antenna. I talked to the contractor this morning. They're planning on coming out the first of September to install that antenna, the remaining radio equipment. With that mobilization of the contractor, we're going to sit down with Mike, the tower manager, and identify those remaining items that are priority to him. I've mentioned in the past, maybe a generator, HVAC. So we'll sit down with him, get some pricing from the contractor, and decide how we want to move forward with some of our remaining funds. Any questions about the tower or I guess the runway? I don't think I paused for that one either. Okay, that's all the updates that I had on projects for you all today. Are there any other questions that you had for me while I'm here?
Yes. Please go back to that first runway picture. That is looking south, is that right?
Yes, sir. This is at the north looking south.
Yes, okay. So this thing that was on our agenda a while ago. Yes, sir. So it's where this red hangar, is that where what we just approved is? Where the red dirt is as well?
It's the dot there.
Okay. So this hangar is what we just approved, the red? And so the red that's there now on that picture, not the red dirt, but the red, okay.
And looking at it with another view, this is an aerial view here. So this is, once again, on Highway 265. City-owned hangars here in gray. And this is that hangar that was just approved here in red. So zooming out to the whole airport. The north is to the right-hand side of this view.
No, we can continue north. One more? At least.
So we can fit two more potentially. They do get a little bit smaller as we move further north, but the cyan, it could be the second phase, and then the red could be the third phase.
But they do get smaller.
That is correct.
Because of the curvature of 265, they're going to have to,
And the distance you have to be off the road.
right.
Correct, yep.
In the interest of hoping that the Air National Guard gets here, would the Air National Guard be able to occupy the pinkish colored?
Would that be north of the drainage?
There, yes. There's discussions going on.
Yeah,
About
I
that.
just say hopeful discussions that something like that would go on, and then we could build a real facility for the Air National Guard there along with an ARF station.
Yes, sir. It's a
And Micah, I think I heard a question from you. You said north of the drainage, north of Spring Creek. So that's the area in green right here where you see a lot of people park for the rodeo. That is unable to be used for any sort of development. We've got the glide slope. That's kind of where my mouse is right here. And so we can't put any buildings or anything there. So it's just required to be empty.
So are you saying the green area has to stay empty?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Any other questions for Greg? Thank you, Greg.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, old business I wanted to bring up. We discussed last month about water supply at the airport, and I was going to have a representative of the water department here. We've worked since then, and we're not to that point. We're meeting again tomorrow, so they'll be here next month. The email that we received was not 100% accurate. I replied to that and got a little bit more clear answer. And so the water department's working on that. They're going to give us some flowage numbers and some options and quite a bit that we'll be able to work off of, but they'll be here next month. Comments from commissioners?
Quick question, I haven't been to the airport since the last meeting. Is the restaurant open?
It is, and it's doing well.
7 days a week. 11 to 7. She says 7 days a week.
Keep that top of mind. It's hard, I know, but keep that top of mind and spread the word. Keep them busy. That is good. Beth says she went and she ate on it for 3 days. All right, thanks, everyone. We're adjourned.
Thank you, sir.